When I say God, I'm not referring to some distant deity sitting on a cloud. No, the God I speak of is the divine presence within you, your own wonderful human imagination. This God power resides in the very depths of your being, waiting to be recognized and harnessed. Many of you have come here tonight feeling burdened by worries and doubts. You carry the weight of unfulfilled desires, unresolved problems, and seemingly impossible situations. But I tell you this, the very act of worry is a misuse of your creative power. When you worry, you are imagining, yes, imagining the very things you do not want to experience. And as we know, imagination creates reality. So tonight, I invite you to embark on a grand experiment. Give your desires, your problems, your impossible situations to God, to your imagination, and then stop worrying about them. This may seem counterintuitive, even irresponsible to some of you, but I assure you it is the most powerful and effective thing you can do. Let me explain how this works. Your consciousness, your I am, is God. It is the only creative power in the universe. When you say I am, you are invoking this creative force. And whatever follows that I am becomes the mold into which this creative power flows. So when you say I am worried, or I am sick, or I am broke, you are literally creating those states in your reality. But when you say I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am loved, you set in motion the creative forces that will bring these states into your experience. Now, giving it to God means turning your desire over to your imagination. It means creating a scene in your mind that implies your desire is already fulfilled. You see, your imagination does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. To your imagination, an vividly imagined is as real as an event you physically experienced. So, if you have a health concern, instead of worrying about it day and night, give it to God. Create a scene in your imagination where you are the embodiment of perfect health. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude of being completely well. Make this scene as vivid and as real as an event. If you're facing financial difficulties, instead of constantly fretting about bills and debts, give it to God. Imagine a scene where you are financially abundant. Feel the security, the freedom, the generosity that comes with having more than enough. Make it real in your imagination. If you're longing for a loving relationship, stop worrying about being alone. Give it to God. Create a scene where you are deeply loved and cherished. Feel the warmth, the connection, the joy of being in a fulfilling relationship. Live in that state in your imagination. The key here is to make these imaginal acts so vivid, so real, that when you open your eyes, you almost expect to see the physical manifestation right in front of you. And here's the crucial part. Once you've done this, you must stop worrying. You must have complete faith that what you have imagined is now in the process of becoming your physical reality. This is what it means to give it to God and stop worrying. You are entrusting your desire to the unfailing creative power of your own wonderful imagination. And then you are stepping back, relinquishing control, and allowing that power to work in ways that your rational mind cannot conceive. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, how can simply imagining something make it real? Let me assure you, this is not mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is a fundamental law of consciousness. Your imagination is the very workshop in which your life is shaped and formed. Everything that exists in your world was once only imagined. The clothes you're wearing, the chair you're sitting on, the building we're in, all of these were first conceived in someone's imagination before they became physical realities. Your entire life, your job, your relationships, your home, your state of health, all of it is the result of what you have been imagining and assuming to be true. So when I tell you to give it to God and stop worrying, I am inviting you to put this principle to the test in your own life. I am challenging you to take whatever seems impossible in your life right now and hand it over to the God within you, your imagination. Let's take a moment to really let this sink in. Close your eyes, if you will. Take a deep breath. Now bring to mind something in your life that has been causing you worry and anxiety. Something that seems impossible to resolve or achieve. Got it? Good. Now, instead of dwelling on the problem, I want you to create a scene in your mind that implies this situation is already resolved. What would you see, hear, and feel if this impossible situation had been miraculously solved? Who would you tell? How would you celebrate? Create this scene in as much detail as you can. Make it so real that you can taste it, touch it, smell it, feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude that would accompany this realized desire. Let every cell in your body vibrate with the assumption that this is now your reality. Now open your eyes. How do you feel? Different, don't you? This is the power of giving it to God. You have just planted a seed in the fertile soil of your imagination. And like any seed, if you do not dig it up with doubt and worry, it must grow into your physical reality. This is the true meaning of faith. It's not about believing in something despite evidence to the contrary. True faith is the evidence of things not seen in the physical world, but felt and experienced as real in your imagination. When you give something to God and stop worrying, you are exercising this kind of faith. You are declaring to the universe it's done. And then you go about your life from the assumption that what you have imagined is now in the process of becoming your physical reality. Now I can almost hear some of you thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something to make our desires come true? And to this I say, inspired action will flow naturally from your changed state of consciousness. You see, once you have truly given your desire to God, once you have felt it as real in your imagination, you will naturally begin to think, feel, and act in accordance with that new reality. You won't have to force yourself to take action. The right actions will occur to you and you will find yourself naturally compelled to take them. This is why I emphasize the importance of the state of consciousness. Your actions are always in alignment with your dominant state of consciousness. So instead of trying to change things by sheer force or willpower, focus on changing your state of consciousness through the use of your imagination. Let me give you a personal example. Many years ago, I found myself in New York City with no money and no job prospects. The rational thing to do would have been to pound the pavement, knocking on doors and handing out resumes. But instead, I gave it to God. I imagined myself sleeping in my own apartment. I felt the comfort of the bed, the softness of the pillow. I heard the sounds of the city outside my window. I smelled the fresh coffee brewing in the kitchen. I made this scene so real that when I opened my eyes, I was almost surprised to find myself still in my current circumstances. And then I stopped worrying about it. I relinquished all anxiety about my situation. I lived from the assumption that I was now a man with a comfortable home in the city. Within a week, I received a phone call from an old acquaintance I hadn't spoken to in years. He offered me a job that not only paid well, but also provided an apartment as part of the compensation. The impossible had become possible, not through my own striving, but through giving it to God and stopping the worry. This, my dear friends, is the secret I want to impart to you tonight. Give it to God and stop worrying. He will do the impossible. But remember, this God is not outside of you. It is your own wonderful human imagination. Now, some of you might be wondering, but what if what I want is truly impossible? What if it goes against the laws of nature? To this I say, who are you to decide what is possible or impossible? The history of human achievement is filled with examples of people accomplishing what was once thought impossible. Flight was once thought impossible. Space travel was once thought impossible. Instant global communication was once thought impossible. Yet here we are, living in a world where all these impossibilities are now commonplace realities. Your imagination is not bound by the so-called laws of nature. It operates in a dimension where all things are possible. When you truly give your desire to God, to your imagination, you are tapping into this limitless realm of possibility. So I urge you, do not limit yourself by deciding what is or isn't possible. Your only job is to imagine the end result you desire and to feel it as real. Let the God within you, your imagination, figure out the how. Now, let's address another common concern. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville have tried this before and it didn't work. If this is you, I want you to consider something. Did you truly give it to God? Did you really stop worrying? You see, many people think they're applying this principle when in reality, they're still holding on to their old beliefs and worries. They imagine their desire for a few minutes and then spend the rest of the day worrying about their current circumstances. This is not giving it to God. This is like planting a seed and then immediately digging it up to see if it's growing. You must have patience and unwavering faith. You must persist in the assumption that what you have imagined is now a reality, even when your physical senses tell you otherwise. Remember, the physical world is a shadow, a reflection of what you have been imagining and assuming to be true. It takes time for the physical to catch up with the imaginal. But I promise you, if you truly give it to God and stop worrying, the physical must and will conform to your imaginal act. Let me share with you another principle that will help you in this practice. Your desire, once imagined as fulfilled, has no power to realize itself unless you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not what you want that you attract. You attract what you believe to be true. So it's not enough to simply visualize what you want. You must feel it as real. You must live from the assumption that you already have what you desire. This feeling, this assumption is the secret that makes the difference between idle daydreaming and actively creating your reality. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are aligning yourself with the reality where your desire is already a fact. You are tuning your consciousness to the frequency of that reality. And like a radio tuning into a specific station, you will begin to pick up and experience the elements of that reality in your physical world. Now, I want to address something that many of you may be struggling with. You might be thinking, but Neville, how can I feel something is real when all the evidence in my physical world tells me otherwise? This, my friends, is where the true test of faith comes in. You must be willing to deny the evidence of your senses. You must be bold enough to imagine and feel a reality that contradicts your current circumstances. This takes courage. It takes practice. But it is the very key to creating the life you desire. Think of it this way. Your physical senses show you what has been created by your past imaginings and assumptions. But your imagination shows you what can be, what is waiting to be made manifest through your renewed assumptions and feelings. So, when you give your desire to God, to your imagination, you are choosing to put more faith in the unseen reality of your imagination than in the seen reality of your physical world. This is the kind of faith that moves mountains. This is the kind of faith that makes the impossible possible. Let's take a moment to practice this. I want you to think of something in your life that you deeply desire but have been struggling to achieve. It could be anything: better health, financial abundance, a loving relationship, a successful career. Whatever it is, bring it to mind now. Now, instead of focusing on the lack of this thing in your life, I want you to create a scene that implies you already have it. Make it as vivid and as real as you can. See it, hear it, feel it. Let every cell in your body resonate with the assumption that this is now your reality. As you do this, you may notice your mind trying to interrupt with doubts and objections. This is normal. Your rational mind, conditioned by past experiences and current circumstances, will try to pull you back to your old reality. But remember, you are more than your rational mind. You are a divine created being made in the image of God. So when these doubts arise, gently but firmly set them aside. Return your focus to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Bask in the joy, the relief, the gratitude of having what you want. Let this feeling soak into every fiber of your being. This, my friends, is what it means to give it to God and stop worrying. You are entrusting your desire to the infallible creative power of your imagination. You are relinquishing control to a higher power, the God within you. Now, here's the crucial part. Once you've done this, you must persist in this new assumption. You must live from the state of the wish fulfilled. This doesn't mean you deny your current circumstances. Rather, you acknowledge them as the shadows of past imaginings while putting more faith in your new imaginal act. This persistence is key. You see, most people give up too soon. They may imagine their desire for a day or two, and then when they don't see immediate results, they conclude that it doesn't work. But remember, creation is finished. Your imaginal act is instantly created in a dimension beyond space and time. It then begins to work its way into your three-dimensional reality. How long this takes depends on many factors, including the naturalness of the state to you and your ability to persist in your new assumption. But I promise you this, if you truly give it to God and stop worrying, if you persist in the assumption that your desire is now a fact, it must externalize itself in your world. Now I want to address something that many of you may be struggling with. You might be thinking, but Neville, I've been hurt before. I've been disappointed. How can I trust in this process? And to this I say, the very fact that you can imagine it means it's possible for you. You see, you cannot desire something that is not already within you to fulfill. The desire itself is proof of your capacity to realize it. Your imagination is showing you a possibility that already exists within you. Your job is simply to bring it forth through your assumption and faith. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you worry about how it will grow? Do you dig it up every day to check on its progress? Of course not. You trust in the invisible processes of nature to bring forth the plant in due time. The same principle applies to the seeds you plant in your imagination. When you give your desire to God, when you plant the seed of your imaginal act, you must trust in the invisible, unfailing processes of creation to bring it forth in your physical reality. This trust, this unwavering faith, is what allows the miracle to unfold. It creates a clear channel through which your imagined reality can flow into your physical experience. Worry, doubt, and anxiety only serve to muddy this channel and delay the manifestation of your desire. So I urge you, give it to God and stop worrying. Trust in the creative power of your imagination. Have faith in the law that states whatever you assume and feel to be true must and will objectify itself in your world. Now, some of you might be wondering about the role of action in this process. You might be thinking, but Neville, surely we need to do something to make our desires come true. And to this I say, inspired action will naturally flow from your changed state of consciousness. You see, once you have truly assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will naturally begin to think, feel, and act in accordance with that new reality. You won't have to force yourself to take action. The right actions will occur to you, and you will find yourself naturally compelled to take them. This is why I emphasize the importance of the state of consciousness. Your actions are always in alignment with your dominant state of consciousness. So instead of trying to change things by sheer force or willpower, focus on changing your state of consciousness through the use of your imagination. Let me give you another example from my own life. Years ago, I desired to travel to Barbados, but I had no money for such a trip. The rational thing would have been to start saving money. to look for better job opportunities, to perhaps even give up on the idea altogether. But instead, I gave it to God. I imagined myself in Barbados. I felt the warmth of the sun on my skin, heard the sound of the waves crashing on the shore, smelled the salt in the air. I made this scene so real that when I opened my eyes, I was almost surprised to find myself still in New York. And then I stopped worrying about how it would happen. I relinquished all anxiety about money or travel arrangements. I lived from the assumption that my trip to Barbados was a done deal. Within a matter of weeks, an opportunity presented itself that I could never have conceived of with my rational mind. A friend offered me a job that required travel to, you guessed it, Barbados. Not only was my trip fully paid for, but I was also compensated for my time there. The impossible had become possible, not through my own striving, but through giving it to God and stopping the worry. This, my dear friends, is the power that lies within each and every one of you. It is the power to create your reality through the use of your imagination. When you give your desires to God, to your imagination, and truly stop worrying, you open yourself up to infinite possibilities. You allow the creative power of the universe to work through you in ways that your limited, rational mind could never conceive. So tonight, I challenge you to put this principle to the test in your own life. Take whatever seems impossible right now, whatever has been causing you worry and anxiety, and give it to God. Create a scene in your imagination that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Feel it as real. Live from that assumption. And then let go. Stop worrying about how it will happen. Trust in the unfailing creative power of your imagination. Remember, the world is your imagination pushed out. Everything you see around you, everything you experience is a reflection of your past thoughts and assumptions. By changing your imagination, by giving your desires to God and living from the assumption of the wish fulfilled, you set in motion a new chain of causation that must result in the realization of your desire. As you leave here tonight, I want you to carry with you this profound truth. You are the operant power in your world. Your imagination is God in action. When you give your desires to this God and stop worrying, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe. You open yourself up to miracles. You make the impossible possible. So go forth from here with a new understanding of your own divine nature. Know that within you lies the power to shape your reality. Use your imagination wisely and lovingly. Give your desires to God, stop worrying, and watch as the miraculous unfolds in your life. For truly with God, with your imagination, all things are possible.
You're living alive. Yes, you heard that right. The person you are right now, the one sitting here listening to these words, is not your true self. It's a facade. It's a facade. A mask you've crafted over years of compromise, fear and self-doubt. But what have I told you? That beneath this mask lies a version of you so powerful, so radiant, that it could transform your entire existence. Close your eyes for a moment. Envision the absolute best version of yourself. See it clearly in your mind's eye. How does this version of you walk? How does it speak? How does it interact with the world? Here's the shocking truth. That version of you is not some far-off dream or unattainable ideal. It's the real you waiting to be unleashed. Every day, you wake up and unconsciously choose to be less than you truly are. You settle for mediocrity, convincing yourself that greatness is for others, not for you. But why? Who decided that you couldn't be extraordinary? Who planted the seed of doubt that has grown into a forest of limitations? The world you see around you, the circumstances of your life, are nothing but a reflection of your inner state. Your current reality is the sum total of your past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions about yourself and the world. If you're not satisfied with what you see, there's only one solution. Change the inner world, and the outer must follow. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to effortlessly attract success, love, and abundance into their lives? It's as if the universe conspires in their favor. What's their secret? They've realized a fundamental truth about reality. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. These individuals don't behave as trying to become successful or loved or abundant. They behave as if they already are. And in doing so, they align themselves with that reality, making it manifest in their physical experience. Now, you might be thinking that's easier said than done. I can't just pretend to be something I'm not. But that's where you're wrong. You're not pretending. You're reconnecting with your true, limitless self. Think about a time when you felt truly alive, when you were operating at your highest level. Perhaps it was a moment of great achievement, or a time when you felt completely in flow. That was an anomaly. That was you free from the shackles of self-doubt and limitation. That was you behaving as your best self. What if you could live from that state constantly? What if, instead of it being a rare occurrence, it became your default mode of being? How would your life transform? How would your relationships change? How would your career evolve? The power to make this shift lies entirely within you. It's not about changing who you are. It is about becoming who you truly are. It's about shedding the layers of conditioning and false beliefs that have accumulated over years, obscuring your true radiant self. That yes, the transformation doesn't happen by wishing or hoping. It happens through a fundamental shift in how you perceive yourself and the world around you. It requires you to challenge every assumption you've ever made about who you are and what you're capable of. Are you ready for that challenge? Are you prepared to question everything you thought you knew about yourself? Are you willing to let go of the comfortable familiarity of your current self-concept and step into the unknown territory of your highest potential? If the answer is yes, then you're about to embark on the most thrilling adventure of your life, an adventure that will lead you to the very core of your being, where you'll discover reservoirs of power, creativity, and love that you never knew existed. This journey begins with a simple yet profound understanding. Your imagination is the gateway to your transformation. Every great achievement, every monumental change in human history began as a thought, an idea, a vision in someone's mind. Your life is no different. The person you'll become tomorrow is born in your imagination today. So I ask you, who do you want to be? Not who do you think you should be or who others expect you to be, but who, in your heart of hearts, do you truly desire to become? See that person clearly. Feel what it's like to be them. Experience the world through their eyes. This is not mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. This is the first step in the profound process of transformation. By holding this image of your ideal self in your mind, by feeling the reality of it, you're setting in motion forces that will reshape your entire existence. But remember, this is not about escaping your current reality or denying who you are now. It's about recognizing that who you are now is just a small fraction of who you can be. It's about expanding your sense of self to encompass all your potential, all your dreams, all your deepest desires. As we continue this exploration, we'll delve deeper into the mechanics of this transformation. We'll uncover the principles that govern the relationship between your inner world and your outer reality. We'll learn how to harness the incredible power of your imagination to reshape. But for now, I want you to hold on to that vision of your best self. Feel it. Breathe it in. Let it permeate every cell of your being. Because from this moment forward, that is who you are. Not someday in the future. Not when you've achieved certain goals or met certain conditions. But right now, in this very instant, you are that best version of yourself. Now it's time to align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with that truth. It's time to behave as if you are the best version of yourself. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It's the key to unlocking your true potential, the bridge between your current reality and the life you desire. But here's the catch. Most people use their imagination against themselves. They imagine worst-case scenarios, replay past failures, and visualize future disappointments. They're using this incredible power to reinforce their limitations rather than transcend them. What if, instead, you use your imagination to construct a new self-concept? What if you directed this power towards envisioning and embodying your highest self? Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every assumption you make about yourself and the world around you is shaping your reality in this very moment. Your self-concept, the mental image you hold of who you are, is the foundation upon which your entire life is built. If you see yourself as limited, unworthy, or incapable, that's exactly what you'll experience in your outer world. But if you see yourself as limitless, deserving, and powerful, your reality will shift to reflect that inner vision. This isn't wishful thinking or pop psychology. It's a fundamental law of consciousness. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. Change the inner and the outer must follow. But how do we make this shift? How do we change our self-concept at such a deep level that it transforms our entire reality? The answer lies in the proper use of your imagination. Your imagination is not just a place to escape reality. It's a tool to create reality. When you imagine yourself as your ideal self, when you feel the reality of being that person, you're not engaging in mere fantasy. You're programming your subconscious mind with a new self-image. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. It accepts whatever you feed it as truth and then works tirelessly to bring that truth into your physical experience. Think about that for a moment. Every time you vividly imagine yourself as your best self, every time you feel the reality of being that person, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways that support this new self-image. But it's not enough to do this once or twice. This needs to become your new way of being. You need to live from this new self-concept consistently, persistently, until it becomes your default state. This is where many people falter. They catch a glimpse of their potential. They feel the excitement of what could be. But then they snap back to their old patterns of thinking and being. They allow their current circumstances, their past experiences, or the opinions of others to override their vision of their ideal self. Don't fall into this trap. Your circumstances are not your reality. They are the aftermath of your previous thinking. Your past does not define you. It simply reveals where your thoughts have been. And the opinions of others are just opinions. They have no power over you unless you give them power. Your power lies in your ability to choose your thoughts, to select the self-concept you wish to embody. This choice is available to you in every moment. No matter what's happening around you, no matter what challenges you face, you always have the power to choose how you see yourself. So how do you make this choice? How do you shift your self-concept in a way that's powerful and lasting? It begins with clarity. You must have a clear, vivid picture of who you want to be. Not just in terms of what you want to have or achieve, but in terms of the kind of person you want to be. How does this ideal version of you think? How do they feel? How do they carry themselves? How do they interact with others? Once you have this clear vision, you must make it real in your imagination. Close your eyes and step into this version yourself. Feel what it's like to be this person. Experience the world through their eyes. Let every detail be vivid and alive in your mind. As you do this, pay attention to your emotions. Emotion is the fuel that powers your imagination. The more you can feel the reality of being your ideal self, the more quickly you align with that reality in your outer world. But remember, this isn't about escaping your current reality. It's about transforming it from within. As you imagine your ideal self, bring that energy, that way of being into your daily life. Begin to walk, talk, and act as if you are already that person. This might feel uncomfortable at first. You might feel like an imposter. That's okay. It's a natural part of the process. You're stretching beyond your current self-concept, and growth always involves some discomfort. Just through this discomfort, keep holding the vision of your ideal self. Keep feeling the reality of it. Keep acting from that state of being. As you do, you'll find that it becomes more and more natural. What once felt like pretending will start to feel authentic. This is the power of your imagination at work. By consistently imagining and embodying your ideal self, you're literally reshaping your self-concept. You're changing the blueprint from which your life is built. But here's where many people misunderstand this process. They think it's about forcing change, about struggling and striving to become something they're not. Nothing could be further from the truth. This process is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. It's about shedding the limitations and false beliefs that have held you back and embracing the fullness of who you truly are. Your ideal self is not some external standard you're trying to live up to. It's the truest expression of your own being. It's who you are when you're free from fear, doubt, and limitation. It's who you are when you're fully aligned with your deepest values and desires. As you continue to imagine and embody this ideal self, you will find that your outer world begins to shift. Opportunities that align with your new self-concept will start to appear. People will begin to treat you differently, responding to the new energy you're projecting. You might be tempted to dismiss these changes as coincidence. Don't. They are the natural result of your shifted self-concept. Remember, your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. As you change your inner world, your outer world must change to match it. This is where faith comes in. Not blind faith in some external power, but faith in the power of your own consciousness. Faith that, as you continue to hold this new self-concept, as you continue to live from this state of being, your outer world will inevitably align with it. This faith is crucial because the changes in your outer world may not happen overnight. There may be a lag between your inner shift and its outer manifestation. During this time, it's essential to stay true to your new self-concept, to continue behaving as if you're already your ideal self. This is where many people give up. They make an inner change, but when they don't see immediate results in their outer world, they revert to their old patterns of thinking and being. Don't make this mistake. Trust the process. Know that as you persist in your new state of being, your outer world must conform to it. Remember, you're not trying to force the outer world to change. You're allowing it to change by changing yourself from within. This is the true secret of personal transformation. It's not about manipulating external circumstances. It's about aligning your inner state with your desire. As you continue this practice, you'll find that it becomes easier and more natural. What once required conscious effort will become automatic. You'll find yourself naturally thinking, feeling, and acting as your ideal self without having to remind yourself to do so. This is when true transformation occurs, when your new self-concept becomes so ingrained that it's simply who you are, not who you're trying to be. When behaving as your best self is no longer a conscious choice, but your default state of being. But even as you reach this state, don't become complacent. Your ideal self is not a fixed destination. It's an ever-evolving vision. As you grow and evolve, so too will your concept of your best self. Embrace this ongoing evolution. Continue to expand your vision of what's possible for you. Use your imagination to push the boundaries of your self-concept. Dare to dream bigger. Dare to be more. Remember, the only limits that exist are the ones you accept in your own mind. As you expand your self-concept, you expand the possibilities for your life. This is the true power of imagination and self-concept. It's not just about improving your circumstances or achieving specific goals. It's about fundamentally transforming who you are and how you experience life. By harnessing this power, you're not just changing what you do, what you have. You're changing who you are at the deepest level. And when you change who you are, everything in your life changes with you. So I challenge you, the God will imagine the grandest version of yourself. Dare to hold that vision consistently, to feel its reality, to live from that state of being. As you do, watch in awe as your life transforms to match your new self-concept. Remember, you're not bound by your past, by your current circumstances, or by anyone else's expectations. You are bound only by the limits of your own imagination. And your imagination is limited. Use this power wisely. Use it to become the fullest, most magnificent expression of yourself. Use it to create a life that reflects your highest vision. Use it to behave as if you are the best version of yourself. Because in truth, that's exactly who you are. The concept of living from the end is perhaps the most powerful tool in your arsenal of transformation. It's the art of experiencing your desired reality, your imagination so vividly that you begin to live from that state in your present moment. This isn't about mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. It's about a fundamental shift in your consciousness that aligns you with the reality you wish to experience. When you live from the end, you're not hoping for a better future or working towards a goal. You're experiencing that future now, in the only moment that truly exists, the present. This might sound paradoxical, but it's the key to rapid and profound transformation. Everything you've ever experienced, every achievement you've ever accomplished, first existed in your imagination. Your current reality was once just a thought, a vision, a feeling. By living from the end, you're accelerating this process. You're bringing your desired future into your present experience through the power of your consciousness. But how exactly do you live from the end? How do you embody your ideal self in a way that's authentic and transformative? It begins with a simple yet profound shift in your perception. Instead of seeing your ideal self as something to be achieved in the future, you must see it as who you truly are right now. This isn't about denying your current circumstances. It's about recognizing that your true identity isn't defined by those circumstances, but by the innermost essence of who you are. Your ideal self isn't some distant, perfected version of you. It's the truest expression of your being, free from the limitations and false beliefs that have accumulated over time. When you live from the end, you're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning and self-doubt. To embody this ideal self, you must first clearly define it. What qualities does your ideal self embody? How does this version of you think, feel, and act? What beliefs does this version of you hold about yourself and the world? Be specific and vivid in your vision. Once you have this clear vision, the next step is to fully experience it in your imagination. Close your eyes and step into this version of yourself. Feel what it's like to be this person. Experience the world through their eyes. How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they interact with others? How do they handle challenges? As you do this, pay close attention to the feelings that arise. The feeling is the secret. It's not enough to just visualize your ideal self. You must feel the reality of being that person. Feel the confidence, the joy, the peace, the love that this version will experience. Let these feelings permeate every cell of your being. This isn't a one-time exercise. To truly live from the end, you must make this your new normal. Whenever you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thought or behavior, take a deep breath. Reconnect with the feeling of being your ideal self. Then, from that state of being, continue with your day. At first, this might feel challenging. You might feel like you're pretending or being inauthentic. That's okay. It's a natural part of the process. Remember, you're stretching beyond your current self-concept. There will be some discomfort as you expand into this new way of being. Persist through this discomfort. Keep reminding yourself that this ideal self isn't some fake persona you're trying to adopt. It's the truest expression of who you are. As you continue to embody this state, you'll find that it becomes more and more natural. What once felt like pretending will start to feel authentic. But living from the end isn't just about how you feel internally. It's also about how you show up in the world. It's about aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with your ideal self. This is where many people fall. They can imagine their ideal self. They can even feel the reality of it internally. But they struggle to bring that energy into their daily lives. To truly embody your ideal self, you must act as if you are already that person. How would your ideal self handle the challenges you're currently facing? How would they interact with the people in your life? How would they approach their work, their relationships, their health? This doesn't mean ignoring your current circumstances or pretending that challenges don't exist. It means approaching those circumstances and challenges from the perspective of your ideal self. It means responding to life from a place of empowerment, confidence, and inner peace, rather than from fear, doubt, or limitation. As you begin to consistently feel and act as your ideal self, you'll notice something remarkable happening. The world around you will begin to respond differently. Opportunities that align with your new way of being will start to appear. People will begin to treat you differently, responding to the new energy you're projecting. This is where faith becomes crucial. Not blind faith in some external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. Faith that as you continue to live from the end, as you continue to embody your ideal self, your outer world will inevitably align with this inner reality. This faith is important because there may be a lag between your inner shift and its outer manifestation. During this time, it's essential to stay true to your new way of being. Don't let temporary circumstances or setbacks shake your conviction. Remember, Your current reality is the result of your past thinking and being. As you persist in your new state, your reality must shift to reflect it. Living from the end also requires a fundamental shift in your relationship with time. Most people live in a state of constant anticipation, always looking forward to some future moment when their desires will be fulfilled. But when you live from the end, you bring that future into your present experience. You're not waiting for something to happen. You're experiencing it now in your consciousness. This shift in perception creates a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. You're no longer chasing after desires or striving to become something in the future. You're experiencing the essence of what you desire right now. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop taking action towards your goals. On the contrary, you'll find yourself inspired to take aligned action from the state of fulfillment. As you continue to live from the end and embody your ideal self, you'll likely encounter resistance, both from within yourself and from the world around you. Your old self-concept, reinforced by years of habit, won't give up without a fight. You may find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thinking and behaving. When this happens, don't judge yourself. Don't see it as failure. Simply recognize it as part of the process and gently bring yourself back to the state of your ideal self. Remember, you're reprogramming deeply ingrained patterns. It takes time and persistence. You may also encounter resistance from others. As you begin to embody your ideal self, some people in your life might reactivate. They're used to the old you, and your transformation might make them uncomfortable. Don't let this deter you. Stay true to your new way of being. The right people, those who resonate with your true self, will be drawn to you. Living from the end and embodying your ideal self is not a destination. It's an ongoing journey of expansion and self-discovery. As you grow and evolve, your vision of your ideal self may change. Embrace this evolution. Continue to expand your concept of what's possible for you. Use your imagination to push the boundaries of your self-concept. Dare to dream bigger. Dare to be more. Remember, the only limits that exist are the ones you accept in your own mind. As you expand your vision of your ideal self, you expand the possibilities for your life. This practice of living from the end and embodying your ideal self is not just about personal achievement or success. It's about aligning with the deepest truth of who you are. It's about expressing the fullness of your being in every moment. As you do this, you not only transform your own life, but you also uplift those around you. You become a living example of what's possible, inspiring others to step into their own greatness. So I challenge you, dare to live from the end, dare to fully embody your ideal self. Not someday in the future, but right now, in this very moment. Feel the reality of being that person. Think as that person thinks. Speak as that person speaks. Act as that person acts. Do this consistently, persistently, with unwavering faith in the creative power of your consciousness. As you do, watch in awe as your life transforms to match this inner reality. Watch as you become the living embodiment of your highest vision. Remember, you are not bound by your past, by your current circumstances, or by anyone else's expectations. You are bound only by the limits of your own imagination. And your imagination is limitless. In every moment, you have the power to choose who you want to be. Choose to be the best version of yourself. Choose to live from the end. Choose to embody your ideal self. As you make this choice consistently, you will find that it's not just your life that transforms. You transform. You become the person you've always known. Deep down, that this is the true power of living from the end and embodying your ideal self. It's not just about achieving goals or improving your circumstances. It's about becoming the fullest, most magnificent expression of who you truly are. It's about aligning with the deepest truth of your being and letting that truth shine forth in every aspect of your life. So go forth with courage and conviction. Live from the end. Embody your ideal self. Be the person you know you can be. The world is waiting for you to shine in all your brilliance. It's time to step into the fullness of who you truly are. It's time to behave as if you are the best version of yourself. Because in truth, that's exactly who you are.
When I tell you to act as if you are the best, I'm not speaking of arrogance or comparison with others. I'm speaking of recognizing and embodying your divine nature. For you are God's own image and likeness made manifest in flesh. Many of you come to these lectures believing that others are better than you, more talented than you, more deserving than you. But I tell you this, such beliefs are nothing but assumed limitations. And like all assumptions, they can be changed in a single moment of understanding. Consider this: when Scripture says, I am that I am, it's revealing the fundamental truth of your being. You are not becoming the best, you are the best. Your only task is to recognize and assume this truth until it becomes your living reality. Let me share with you what I mean by acting as if you are the best. It's not about competing with others or proving your superiority. It's about assuming the state of being the person you desire to be, knowing that no one can prevent you from expressing your highest conception of yourself. When you truly grasp that consciousness is the only reality, you understand that your concept of self determines everything you experience. If you assume others are better than you, the universe must conform to provide experiences that confirm this assumption. If you assume you are the best, the universe must, and I emphasize must, reorganize itself to reflect this assumption back to you. Here's a profound truth that few understand. Your present concept of self, the one that makes you feel less than others, is just as much a step as the one I'm asking you to adopt. You weren't born believing others were better than you. You learned to assume this through experience and accepted it as truth. Changing this assumption requires a complete revision of your self-concept. You must begin to live from the assumption that you are the best, not through comparison with others, but through the recognition of your divine nature. For when I say you are the best, I'm speaking of your true identity as pure consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in consciousness when you truly assume you are the best. First, all sense of competition falls away. When you know you are the best, you don't need to prove it to anyone. You don't need to diminish others to elevate yourself. You simply are, and that knowing is enough. Many of you make the mistake of trying to become the best through effort and struggle. But I tell you this, you cannot become what you already are. Your task is not to become the best, but to recognize and assume that you already are the best. This is what Scripture means when it says, be still and know that I am God. Consider this. Everything you're experiencing now, every limitation, every feeling of being less than others, is simply the harvested fruit of your past assumptions. The universe has been faithfully reflecting back to you what you have assumed about yourself. If you've assumed others are better, the universe has provided evidence to support this assumption. But here is the liberating truth. You can change this pattern in a single moment by assuming a new concept of self. When you assume you are the best, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect this new assumption. This is law, and the law never fails. Let me tell you something about assuming you are the best. It has nothing to do with ego or pride. It's about recognizing your divine nature and allowing it to express through you. When you truly assume this state, you naturally want others to recognize and express their divine nature as well. This is why the command is to love your neighbor as yourself. When you truly recognize your own divine nature, you automatically get others. In others, you don't need to compete with them because you understand that their success doesn't diminish your own greatness. Expressing your divine nature means living from the assumption that you are the best version of yourself right now, in this moment. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances change, but now. For in consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no waiting, no becoming, there is only being. Let me share with you a principle that many find difficult to accept. Your current circumstances have no power to prevent you from assuming you are the best. Your bank account, your education, your background, your past failures, none of these can stop you from assuming a new concept of self. They are merely shadows of past assumptions. Many of you say, but Neville, how can I assume I'm the best when others are more qualified, more successful, more experienced? I tell you this, these comparisons exist only in your imagination. And if they exist in your imagination, they can be revised in your imagination. For imagination creates reality. Consider this, every great individual who ever lived first assumed their greatness before it became visible to others. They didn't wait for circumstances to make them great. They assumed their greatness, and circumstances had to conform to their assumption. This is the law. When you truly assume you are the best, something remarkable happens in consciousness. All sense of strain, all need to prove yourself, all fear of competition falls away. You begin to move through life with a confidence that needs no external validation. Let me tell you something about this state of being the best. It's not about being better than others. It's about being better than your previous concept of yourself. When you assume this state, you naturally inspire others to rise to their best as well. For when one rises, all rise. Here's a profound truth about assuming you are the best. The universe cannot give you less than what you assume for yourself. If you assume mediocrity, the universe must provide experiences of mediocrity. If you assume excellence, the universe must provide experiences of excellence. Assuming excellence means occupying the state of being excellent in your imagination until it becomes your dominant feeling. Not just during meditation or visualization, but in every moment of your daily life. Your every thought, your every action, your every reaction must spring from this new assumption. Let me share with you what happens when you truly assume you are the best. Your walk changes, your talk changes, your posture changes, not through conscious effort, but as a natural expression of your new self-concept. The universe must then reshape itself to match this new expression. Many of you make the mistake of trying to act confident while maintaining an inner feeling of inadequacy. But I tell you this, the universe responds not to your outer actions, but to your inner feeling tone. You must feel your excellence in the very depths of your being. Consider this right now, in this very moment, there are infinite states of consciousness available to you. The state of being the best already exists, complete and perfect. Your task is not to create this state, but to occupy it through your assumption. When you assume you are the best, you stop seeking approval from others. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop making excuses for why you can't succeed. These behaviors cannot exist in the consciousness of one who truly knows their own excellence. Let me tell you something crucial about maintaining this state. You will be tested. The world of Caesar will present you with evidence that seems to contradict your assumption. Old circumstances, old relationships, old patterns will persist for a time. This is law. But here's the secret. These circumstances have no power except the power you give them through your reaction. If you maintain your assumption of being the best despite contrary evidence, that very evidence must change to match your assumption. Handling contrary evidence is where most people falter in their assumption of being the best. When circumstances seem to deny your assumption, when others doubt you, when results don't immediately appear, this is when you must stand most firmly in your conviction. Let me share with you a principle that has proven itself countless times. The outer world will continue to reflect your old concept of self for a time. This is not a denial of your new assumption. It is an opportunity to strengthen it. Every circumstance that seems to deny your excellence is actually an opportunity to prove your assumption. Many of you abandon your assumption of being the best at the first sign of failure or criticism. But I tell you this, those very failures, those very criticisms, when met with unwavering assumption of your excellence, become the building blocks of your success. For what you persist in assuming must become your reality. Consider this. When you truly know you are the best, failure becomes impossible. You may face temporary setbacks, but in your consciousness, these are merely stepping stones to your inevitable success. This is how the great ones think. And this is how you must think if you would assume your greatness. The universe responds not to what others think of you, not to your past performance, not to your current circumstances, but to your persistent assumption. If you maintain the feeling of being the best despite all evidence to the contrary, the universe must, and I emphasize must, reorganize itself to match your assumption. Let me tell you something about persistence in your assumption. It's not about duration in time, but about the intensity of conviction. One moment of complete acceptance of your excellence is worth more than years of half-hearted affirmations. The universe responds not to time, but to the intensity of your assumption. Here's a profound truth about maintaining your assumption. You don't maintain it by fighting against current conditions. You maintain it by remaining so centered in your excellence that current conditions become irrelevant. Just as light doesn't fight darkness, It simply shines. You don't fight against limitations. You simply radiate excellence. Radiating excellence comes from a deep inner conviction that transcends all external circumstances. When you truly assume you are the best, this assumption radiates from you naturally, without effort, without strain, without trying to convince others. It becomes as natural as breathing. Let me share with you what I mean by radiating excellence. When you wake in the morning, before you even open your eyes, feel the naturalness of being the best. Not with excitement or enthusiasm, but with the quiet certainty of knowing who you really are. This feeling should be as natural as knowing your own name. Many of you try to radiate excellence through outer actions, through your clothes, your possessions, your achievements. But I tell you this, true excellence radiates from within. It's not something you do, it's something you are. The outer manifestations will follow naturally when your inner assumption is secure. Consider this, everything in your world right now is a reflection of your past radiation. If you've been radiating doubt, uncertainty, or feelings of inadequacy, the universe has faithfully reflected these back to you. The universe can only reflect what you radiate from within. When you truly radiate excellence, something remarkable happens. Others begin to recognize and respond to it. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because they can't help but respond to the conviction you carry within. This is why Scripture says, let your light so shine before men. Let me tell you something vital about radiating excellence. It must be consistent. You cannot radiate excellence for an hour and then return to radiating doubt and limitation. The universe responds to your predominant radiation, not to your occasional moments of feeling confident. Here's a profound truth about radiation. It affects everything in your world. When you truly radiate excellence, every person you meet, every circumstance you encounter must adjust itself to match your radiation. This is law, and the law never fails. Your radiation affects your world in ways that your logical mind could never conceive. When you consistently radiate the feeling of being the best, the entire universe must, and I emphasize must, rearrange itself to reflect this radiation back to you in the form of corresponding circumstances, events, and relationships. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this radiation of excellent radiation. People who previously doubted you begin to see you differently. Opportunities that seemed close to you suddenly appear. Circumstances that appeared limiting begin to transform. Not because you're manipulating the outer world, but because your radiation is creating a new world. Many of you ask how long it will take for your world to reflect your new radiation. But I tell you this, time is not a factor in consciousness. The moment you achieve a complete conviction of being the best, the entire universe begins its reorganization. The time it takes for this to become visible depends solely on the intensity of your conviction. Consider this right now in this very moment. There are infinite versions of you existing simultaneously. There's a version where you're struggling, a version where you're succeeding, a version where you're the absolute best in your field. Your radiation determines which version you experience. When you truly understand this, you stop trying to compete with others. You realize that your only competition is with your previous concept of self. The only person you need to be better than is who you were yesterday. And this improvement comes not through strain or effort, but through assuming a higher concept of self. Let me tell you something about this radiation of excellence. It must become your natural state. Just as you don't think about breathing, you shouldn't have to think about being the best. It should be your default state, your natural way of being in the world. Here's a profound truth about maintaining this radiation. You don't maintain it by affirming it or by trying to convince others. You maintain it by living from it, by making it so much a part of your consciousness that you can't conceive of being any other way. Living from the state of being the best means making it your constant dwelling place in consciousness. Just as you naturally live in your physical home without constantly reminding yourself that it's your home, you must naturally live in the consciousness of being the best without constant mental effort. Let me share with you what happens when you truly live from this state. Your decisions change, your choices change, your responses to challenges change, not because you're trying to act differently, but because these new behaviors are the natural expression of your new state of consciousness. Many of you try to live from this state for a few hours or days, then slip back into your old patterns of thinking. But I tell you this, you must make a complete and permanent move into this new state. You must burn the bridges to your old concept of self. There can be no going back, no visiting your old limitations. Consider this, every great achievement in human history came from someone who dared to live from the state of being the best. They didn't wait until circumstances confirmed their greatness. They assumed their greatness first. And circumstances had no choice but to conform to their assumption. When you truly live from the state of being the best, criticism cannot touch you, not because you've become immune to it, but because you're living in a state where criticism is irrelevant. Just as a king doesn't defend his right to the throne, you don't defend your excellence, you simply live from it. Let me tell you something vital about living from this state. It requires no effort once you're truly established in it. Just as it requires no effort to be who you currently believe yourself to be, it requires no effort to be the best once you fully assume that state. Here's a profound truth about living from the state of being the best. It transforms not just your future, but your past as well. When you fully occupy the state, you begin to see how every past experience, even the seemingly negative ones, contributed to your excellence. Many of you believe that being the best means constantly striving, constantly pushing, constantly competing. But I tell you this, true excellence comes from a state of being, not from doing. When you occupy the state of being the best, your actions flow naturally from that state without strain or effort. Consider this right now. You're living from some concept of self. This concept might be that you're average, that others are better, that you need to struggle to succeed. And the universe has faithfully reflected this concept back to you. But I tell you this, you can shift to a new concept of self in a single moment of understanding. When you truly grasp that being the best is your natural state, your divine inheritance, something remarkable happens. All the energy you've been using to compete, to prove yourself, to overcome limitations becomes available for creative expression. You stop trying to become and simply allow yourself to be. Let me tell you something about this state of being the best. It's not about superiority over others. It's about expressing your highest potential, about being the best version of yourself. When you truly occupy this state, you naturally want others to recognize and express their excellence as well. Here's a profound truth about living as the best. It's the most natural thing in the world once you understand your true identity. You are God's own imagination made manifest. How could you be anything less than the best? Any limitation you experience is simply a limitation you've accepted in imagination. Accepting your true identity as the best version of yourself requires a complete revision of everything you've believed about who you are. You must understand that your current concept of self, with all its limitations and doubts, is just as much an assumed state as the one I'm asking you to adopt. Let me share with you what happens when you fully accept your true identity. First, all sense of unworthiness falls away. You stop questioning whether you deserve success, whether you're good enough, whether you can achieve your goals. You know with absolute certainty that excellence is your natural state. Many of you have lived so long with a limited concept of self that being the best seems like an impossible dream. But I tell you this, that very feeling of impossibility is itself an assumption. And like all assumptions, it can be changed in a single moment through the power of your wonderful human imagination. Consider this. Every limitation you now accept, every feeling of being less than the best, is nothing more than a habit of consciousness. And habits, no matter how long established, can be changed through persistent assumption of a new state. This is law. And the law never fails. When you truly accept your identity as the best, your entire world must reshape itself to match this new self-concept. People who once intimidated you will find themselves responding to your new radiation. Circumstances that seem beyond your reach will naturally align themselves with your new assumption. Let me tell you something vital about maintaining this new identity. You don't maintain it through willpower or positive thinking. You maintain it through understanding. Once you truly understand that being the best is your natural state, you can no more doubt it than you can doubt your own existence. Here's a profound truth about your true identity. It's not something you need to create or achieve. It already exists, complete and perfect, waiting for you to step into it through assumption. Your only task is to accept it, to occupy it, to live from it. Many of you fluctuate between excellent and feeling inadequate, depending on external circumstances. But I tell you this, such fluctuation is impossible when you truly occupy the state of being the best. Just as a king doesn't stop being a king during challenges, you don't stop being excellent when facing obstacles. Consider this, every experience you encounter is simply an opportunity to express your excellence. Even apparent failures become opportunities to demonstrate your unshakable conviction in your own greatness. For when you live from the state of being the best, failure becomes impossible. When you truly live from this identity, something remarkable happens to your relationship with time. You stop waiting to become excellent in the future and start expressing excellence now. For in consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no waiting, no becoming, there is only being. Let me tell you something crucial about maintaining the state. The world will test your conviction. It must, for this is law. Old circumstances, old relationships, old patterns of failure will persist for a time. But these are not obstacles to your assumption. They are opportunities to strengthen it. Here's a profound truth about living from your true identity. It requires no effort once you're established in it. Just as you don't need effort to be who you currently believe yourself to be. You need no effort to be the best once you've fully accepted this as your true identity. Uncovering your natural excellence is like removing layers of dust from a perfect mirror. The brilliance was always there. It was merely covered by accumulated beliefs in limitation, doubt, and unworthiness. As you remove these false beliefs, your natural excellence shines forth with ever-increasing clarity. Let me share with you what happens when these layers of limitation begin to fall away. First, you stop seeking validation from others. You stop needing external confirmation of your excellence. You know who you are with such certainty that no external opinion can shake your conviction. Many of you have accumulated so many layers of limiting beliefs that your natural excellence seems like a distant dream. But I tell you this, these limitations are no more permanent than dust on a mirror. They can be wiped away in an instant through the power of your assumption. Consider this, every limiting belief you now hold, every doubt about your excellence, every fear of inadequacy was learned. And what can be learned can be unlearned. Your task is not to create excellence, but to remove the barriers to its expression. When you truly begin this process of uncovering your excellence, something remarkable happens to your entire worldview. You start to see that every circumstance, every relationship, every experience has been serving to reveal your true nature. Even your apparent failures have been leading you to this recognition. Let me tell you something crucial about this uncovering process. It happens not through effort, but through understanding. The moment you truly understand that excellence is your natural state, the layers of limitation begin to fall away of the awaken. Here's a profound truth about uncovering your excellence. The process is instantaneous in consciousness, but may appear gradual in manifestation. The moment you fully accept your true identity, the entire universe begins its reorganization to reflect this truth. The time it takes for this to become visible depends solely on the completeness of your acceptance. The process of accepting your natural excellence requires a complete revision of your self-concept. You must be willing to release every belief, every idea, every concept that contradicts your true identity as the best. This is not something you do gradually. It must be absolute and complete. Let me share with you what happens when this acceptance becomes total. First, all internal conflict ceases. The battle between who you think you should be and who you think you are ends completely. There is only the quiet certainty of knowing your true identity as the best. Many of you try to accept your excellence while still holding on to doubts and limitations. But I tell you this, such partial acceptance is no acceptance at all. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot live from the state of being the best while maintaining a backup identity of limitation. Consider this. Your current concept of self, with all its limitations and doubts, is just as much an assumed state as the one I'm asking you to adopt. The only difference is that you've practiced your current concept longer. But time is no factor in consciousness. A new state, fully accepted, becomes just as natural as any long-held belief. When you truly accept your excellence without reservation, something remarkable happens to your entire experience of life. What once seemed like obstacles become opportunities. What once seemed like competition becomes irrelevant. What once seemed like limitations become launching pads for greater expression. Let me tell you something vital about this acceptance. It must be unconditional. You can accept your excellence only when circumstances support it. You must maintain this acceptance regardless of external conditions, knowing that conditions must conform to your consciousness, not the other way around. Here's a profound truth about complete acceptance. It transforms not just your future, but your past as well. When you fully accept your excellence, you begin to see how every past experience, even the seemingly negative ones, was perfectly designed to lead you to this recognition.
Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, seemingly infinite chasm. Your heart races, palms sweat, and every instinct screams to retreat. Yet something within you whispers you can fly. This, dear friends, is the precipice of unlimited confidence. Have you ever wondered why some individuals soar effortlessly through life, while others remain tethered to the ground? The answer lies not in external circumstances, but in the realm of consciousness itself. You see, the limitations we perceive are nothing more than illusions, self-imposed barriers. Consider for a moment the nature of reality. What we perceive as the real world is merely a projection of our consciousness. Every experience, every interaction, every obstacle we face is filtered through the lens of our beliefs and expectations. And herein lies the key to unlocking unlimited confidence. The realization that we are the architects of our own reality. But how can this be? How can we possibly shape the world around us through mere thought? The truth is, we do it every moment of every day, often without even realizing it. Our beliefs about ourselves and the world create a self-fulfilling prophecy manifesting in our external experiences. Think back to a time when you felt utterly confident, when success seemed inevitable. Perhaps it was a job interview, a sports competition, or a personal challenge. In those moments, didn't the world seem to bend to your will? Opportunities appeared as if by magic. Obstacles melted away. And you moved through life with an effortless grace. Now contrast that with times when doubt clouded your mind, when fear held you in its icy grip. The same challenges that once seemed surmountable now loomed like insurmountable mountains. The world appeared hostile, conspiring against your every move. But what really changed? Only your perception, your inner state of being. This is the grand illusion. The belief that our limitations are fixed, immutable facts of existence. But I tell you now, with absolute certainty, that these limitations are as fragile as soap bubbles, ready to pop at the slightest touch of awareness. To break free from these self-imposed barriers, we must first recognize them for what they are. Thoughts, nothing more. They have no power over us except that which we grant them. And just as we have the power to create these limitations, close your eyes for a moment. Breathe deeply. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, the air flowing in and out of your lungs. Now become aware of your thoughts. Watch them as they drift across the screen of your mind. Notice how they come and go. Clouds in the sky. You are not these thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. The infinite consciousness that observes without judgment. In the state of pure awareness, there are no limitations. There is only infinite potential waiting to be expressed through you. This is your true nature, your birth. The confidence you seek is not something to be acquired, but rather uncovered like a treasure buried beneath years of conditioning and false beliefs. Said, how do we maintain this state of limitless potential in the face of life's challenges? The key lies in understanding the nature of time itself. Past and future exist only in our minds. The present moment is all there is. By anchoring ourselves in the eternal now, we free ourselves from the weight of past failures and future anxieties. Imagine for a moment that your desired reality, a reality in which you possess unlimited confidence, it already exists. It's not something to be achieved in the future, but a present fact. How would you move through the world if this were true? How would you speak, act, and think? This is not mere pretending or fake it till you make it. It is aligning yourself with the truth of your being, stepping into the role that is already yours. As you begin to embody this state of unlimited confidence, you'll notice a shift in your external world. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will present themselves more frequently. Challenges that once seemed daunting will become exciting adventures. This is not coincidence or luck. It is the natural result of aligning your inner state with the infinite potential of the universe. This path is not for the faint of heart. It requires unwavering commitment and a willingness to face your deepest fears. For as you step into your true power, everything that is unlike it will rise to the surface to be released. Old patterns of thought, limiting beliefs, and fears of inadequacy will clamor for your attention. This is not a sign of failure, but of progress. Welcome these shadows as they emerge, for they are the very barriers you must transmute to claim your birthright of unlimited confidence. Remember, the world you see is a reflection of your inner state. If you want to change your external reality, you must first change your inner reality. This is not a matter of positive thinking or affirmations, though these can be useful tools. It is about fundamentally shifting your perception of who you are and what you're capable of. Consider the great achievers throughout history. The inventors, the artists, the leaders who shaped the course of human events. What set them apart was not some innate talent or favorable circumstance. It was the unshakable belief in their own potential, their refusal to accept the limitations imposed by society or conventional wisdom. You have the same power within you. The only difference between you and these giants of history is your level of awareness. They tapped into the infinite wellspring of confidence that resides within all of us. And now it's your turn to drink from that same source. As you move through your day, I challenge you to catch yourself in moments of self-doubt or limitation. When you hear that inner voice saying, I can't or it's not possible, pause. Take a deep breath. Remember who you truly are. An infinite being of limitless potential. Then, from this place of power, choose again. Choose to see the situation through the eyes of your highest self, the self that knows no boundaries. This practice may feel uncomfortable at first. You may feel like an imposter, as if you're deceiving yourself or others. But I assure you, the only deception is the belief in your limitations. As you persist in this practice, you'll find that it becomes more natural, more authentic. You're not becoming someone new. You're simply allowing your true self to emerge. Unlimited confidence is not about never feeling fear or doubt. It's about recognizing these emotions for what they are, temporary visitors in the vast expanse of your consciousness, and choosing to act from a place of power regardless. It's about knowing that you have within you everything you need to face any challenge. Seize any opportunity and create the life you desire. As we conclude this exploration of the illusion of limitation, I invite you to take a moment to reflect. How would your life change if you truly believed in your unlimited potential? What dreams would you pursue? What risks would you take? What impact could you have on the world? The answers to these questions are the first steps on your journey to unlimited confidence. Embrace them. Let them inspire you. And most importantly, let them guide your actions in the world. For it is through action, aligned with your highest vision of yourself, that you will shatter the illusion of limitation once and for all. Remember, the chasm of doubt and fear is an illusion. You don't need to build wings to fly across it. You only need to realize that you've been flying all along. Step forward with the confidence of one who knows their true nature and watch as the world transforms before your eyes. As we stand here, having shattered the illusion of limitation, a new vista opens before us. The landscape of infinite possibility stretches as far as the eye can see and beyond. But how do we navigate this boundless expanse? The answer lies in the most powerful tool at our disposal. Imagination. Close your eyes for a moment. What do you see The darkness behind your eyelids. Look closer. In that darkness, worlds are born. Universes unfold. Your imagination, that incredible faculty of mind, is the very forge of every great achievement in human history began as a thought, a vision in someone's mind. The pyramids, the light bulb, the internet, all were imagined before they were manifested. Your life, too, is shaped by the images you hold in your mind. Your current circumstances, your relationships, your successes and challenges, all are the outward pictures of your inner imaginings. But here's the crucial point. Most people use their imagination unconsciously, allowing their minds to be filled with images of lack, limitation, and fear. They replay past failures, project future disasters, and wonder why their lives seem stuck in patterns of struggle. They fail to realize that they are using the very power that could liberate them to further entrap themselves. The secret to harnessing the power of imagination lies in conscious, deliberate use. Instead of letting your mind wander aimlessly, direct it with purpose. Paint vivid pictures of the life you desire, the person you wish to become. Feel the emotions associated with having already achieved your goals. This is not mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is the active use of the creative power of the universe which flows through you. Think of your imagination as a film projector and your life as the screen. The images you project will inevitably appear in your experience. But here's the catch. The projector doesn't distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. It simply projects whatever film you feed it. So why not choose the most magnificent, inspiring images possible? Now, you might be thinking, but I've tried positive thinking before, and nothing changed. The difference here is not in the thinking, but in the feeling. Your imagination must be engaged, not just intellectually, but emotionally. When you imagine your desired state, you must feel it so vividly that your entire being responds as if it were already real. Let's try an experiment. Think of a lemon. See its bright yellow skin. Feel its waxy texture. Now imagine cutting it in half. Watch the juice run onto the cutting board. Bring the lemon to your nose and inhale its sharp. Now take a big bite of the lemon. What happened? Did you feel your mouth water? Did you perhaps even pucker your lips? Your body responded as if you had actually tasted a lemon, even though it was all in your imagination. This is the power we're tapping into. Your body, your subconscious mind, cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. So, how do we apply this to cultivating unlimited confidence? Begin by crafting a detailed mental image of yourself as the confident, capable person you wish to be. See yourself walking with poise, speaking with authority, facing challenges with calm assurance. Feel the emotions associated with this state. The sense of ease, the quiet joy, the unwavering self-belief. But don't stop there. Imagination is not just about visual images. Engage all your senses. Hear the tone of your voice as you speak confidently. Feel the firm handshakes, the pats on the back. Smell the success. Taste the victory. The more sensory detail you can infuse into your imaginal acts. Now, here's where many people falter. They engage in these imaginative exercises for a few minutes, then return to their habitual patterns of thought. But remember, we're not trying to escape reality. We're creating a new one. To do this, you must live from the state of your fulfilled desire. Carry the feeling of unlimited confidence with you throughout your day. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, how would the confident version of me handle this? Then step into that role. Act as if you already possess the confidence you seek. This is not pretending or faking. It's aligning yourself with a higher truth, a fuller expression of who you really are. But what about when doubts creep in? When the old patterns of thought reassert themselves, this is where persistence becomes crucial. Treat these moments not as setbacks, but as opportunities to flex your imaginative muscles. Gently but firmly redirect your thoughts to your desired state. Remember, you are training your mind, reprogramming deeply ingrained patterns. It takes time and consistent effort. One powerful technique is to create a mental sanctuary, a place in your imagination where you can retreat to reinforce your vision. This could be a beautiful garden, a mountaintop, or a luxurious room. The specifics don't matter as long as it's a place that feels safe and empowering to you. Visit this place regularly in your mind. Use it as a staging ground for your imaginative act. In this sanctuary, you might imagine meeting a future version of yourself, one who has already achieved unlimited confidence. What advice would they give you? How do they carry themselves? Absorb their energy, their assurance. Remember, this future self is not separate from you. It is you. As you practice these techniques, you'll begin to notice changes in your external world. People may respond to you differently. Opportunities may arise that seem to align perfectly with your goals. You might find yourself handling situations with an ease that surprises you. These are not coincidences. They are the natural result of your inner work manifesting in the outer world. But as you step into this new way of being, you may face resistance, both from within and without. Old habits of thought will try to reassert themselves. Well-meaning friends and family might question your new attitude. The world may seem to test your newfound confidence. Welcome these challenges. They are not obstacles, but opportunities to strengthen your resolve, to prove to yourself the power of your imagination. Remember, the world you experience is a reflection of your inner state. As you consistently hold the image and feeling of unlimited confidence, your outer world will have no choice but to reshape itself to match. This is not magic or wishful thinking. It is the operation of universe. Think of it this: your imagination is like a garden. The thoughts and images you plant that will inevitably grow and bear fruit in your life. But like any garden, it requires tending. You must weed out the thoughts of doubt and limit. You must water and nurture the seeds of confidence and success. And you must have patience, knowing that while the fruits of your labor may not be immediately visible, they are growing stronger every day. As we approach the end of this exploration of the power of imagination, I invite you to make a commitment to yourself. Pledge to dedicate time each day to consciously using your imagination to cultivate unlimited confidence. Whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, make it a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Treat it with the same importance you would any other vital task. Start your day by imagining yourself moving through your activities with unshakable confidence. End your day by revisiting your successes, no matter how small, and amplifying them in your mind. Throughout the day, catch yourself in moments of doubt or fear and consciously shift to your confident self-image. Remember, you are not creating something new. You are uncovering what has always been there beneath the layers of limiting beliefs and societal conditioning. The confident, capable, powerful you is not a fantasy. It is your true nature. Your imagination is simply the tool to bring it into full. Glorious. As we transition to our final exploration, carry with you this truth. Your imagination is the workshop where your life is crafted. Use it wisely, use it consistently, and watch as the seeds of unlimited confidence blossom into the full flower of a life lived without limits. As the power of imagination takes root in your consciousness, we arrive at the crux of our exploration, embodying unlimited confidence. This is where thought transforms into being, where the inner vision becomes outer reality. It's time to step fully into the role you've imagined for yourself. What does unlimited confidence look like in action? How does it move, speak, and interact with the world? These are not idle questions, for in answering them, you begin to shape your new reality. The law of assumption states that to attain your desires, you must assume the feeling of their fulfillment. In other words, to embody unlimited confidence, you must feel and act as if you already possess it. This might seem like a paradox at first. How can you act confident if you don't feel confident? But herein lies the transformative power of this principle. The act of assuming the state you desire brings it into being. Think of it as stepping into a role, much like an actor does. When a great actor takes on a part, they don't merely recite lines. They become the character, adopting their mannerisms, their way of thinking, their emotional responses. In the same way, you must become the confident version of yourself you've imagined. Start with your physical presence. How does a person with unlimited confidence carry themselves? Stand tall, shoulders back, chin up. Feel your feet firmly planted on the ground as if you're rooted to the earth. Take up space unapologetically. Your body language speaks volumes before you ever open your mouth. Now pay attention to your breath. Confidence is reflected in calm, steady breathing. Take deep, slow breaths from your diaphragm. Feel your chest expand with each inhalation, filling you with vitality and assurance. As you exhale, release any tension or doubt. Your voice is another powerful tool in embodying confidence. Speak clearly and deliberately. Lower the pitch of your voice slightly and speak from your chest rather than your throat. Pause between sentences, comfortable with moments of silence. Remember, confident people don't rush to fill every gap in conversation. But physical presence is only the beginning. True embodiment of unlimited confidence comes from aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with this state of being. This requires constant vigilance and practice. You must catch yourself in moments of doubt or insecurity and consciously shift back into your confident state. How would the most confident version of me handle this? Then act accordingly, even especially if it feels uncomfortable at first. Remember, growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone. One powerful technique for maintaining unwavering faith in your confident self is the use of I am statements. These are not mere affirmations, but declarations of your true nature. I am confident. I am capable. I am worthy. Repeat these to yourself throughout the day, not as something you hope to be, but statements of fact. As you embody this state of unlimited confidence, you'll find that your perception of the world shifts. Challenges become opportunities. Failures become lessons. The opinions of others lose their power over you. This is not because the world has changed, but because you have changed your relationship to it. But what about when doubt creeps in? When old patterns of thought threaten to undermine your newfound confidence? This is where the practice of self-observation becomes crucial. Watch your thoughts as if from a distance. Notice when negative self-talk arises, but don't engage with it. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and then gently redirect your focus to your confident state. Remember, confidence is not the absence of fear or doubt. It's the ability to act in spite of these feelings. In fact, feeling fear and doing it anyway is one of the most powerful ways to build genuine confidence. Each time you face a fear, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. As you move through your day, embody unlimited confidence. Pay attention to how others respond to you. You may notice people treating you with more respect, listening more attentively to your ideas, or seeking out your company. This is not because you become a different person, but because you're projecting a different energy into the world. However, be prepared for some resistance. As you step into your power, it may threaten those around you who are still trapped in their own limiting beliefs. Some may try to pull you back into old patterns of behavior. Stand firm in your new state of being. Your confidence is not dependent on their approval. One of the most powerful ways to embody unlimited confidence is through action. Set ambitious goals for yourself and take bold steps towards achieving them. Each small success builds upon the last, creating a positive feedback loop of confidence and achievement. But what about when you fall short of your goals? This is where many people falter, allowing setbacks to erode their confidence. Instead, view these moments as opportunities for growth. Analyze what went wrong without judgment. Extract the lesson, adjust your approach, and try again. Remember, confidence is not about never failing. It's about knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. As you continue to embody unlimited confidence, you'll find that it becomes easier and more natural. What once required conscious effort now becomes second nature. You're not pretending to be confident anymore. This is the power of persistent assumption. It transforms your very being. But this transformation is not just for your own benefit. As you embody unlimited confidence, you become a beacon for others. Your presence inspires those around you to step into their own power. Without saying a word, you give others permission to be their best selves. Think about the ripple effect this can have. Your confidence empowers a friend to pursue their dreams. They, in turn, inspire others. Before long, you set in motion a chain reaction of empowerment and positive change. This is how individuals transform societies. As we near the end of our exploration, I want to emphasize a crucial point. Embodying unlimited confidence is not a destination, but a journey. It's a daily practice, a moment-by-moment choice to align with your highest self. There will be days when it feels effortless, and days when it requires every ounce of your will. Embrace both. They're all part of it. Remember, too, that true confidence is not about being better than others. It's about being the best version of yourself. It's about recognizing your inherent worth and living from that place of self-assurance. When you embody this state, you naturally lift others up rather than tearing them down. In your journey of embodying unlimited confidence, be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Each time you choose confidence over doubt, each time you take a bold action, each time you speak your truth, you are reinforcing this new way of being. As we conclude, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. Think back to where you were at the beginning of this exploration. Notice the shift in your energy, your perspective, your very being. This is just the beginning. From this moment forward, commit to living from a place of unlimited confidence. Let it infuse every aspect of your life, your relationships, your work, your dreams. Know that you have within you everything you need to face any challenge and seize any opportunity. Step into the world with your head held high, your heart open, and your spirit unshakable. You are no longer bound by the illusions of limitation. You have harnessed the power of your imagination. And now you embody the very essence of unlimited confidence. Go forth and create the life you've imagined. The world is waiting for the unique gifts only you can offer. And remember, in every moment, you have a choice to shrink back into old patterns or to stand tall in your newfound confidence. Choose wisely, choose boldly, choose confidence. Your journey of unlimited confidence starts now. Every step you take, every word you speak, every thought you think is an opportunity to reinforce this new way of being. Embrace it fully, live it wholeheartedly, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. The power has always been within you. Now you know how to use it. Go forth with unlimited confidence and create the extraordinary life you were born to live.
Imagine, if you will, the vast expanse of your consciousness, a realm of infinite possibilities where time and space bend to the will of your imagination. In this realm there is no past, no future, only the eternal now, the present moment in which all things are possible. It is here, in this sacred space of your mind, that the impossible becomes possible and the unimaginable becomes real. Now you may ask, how can a mere minute hold such power? The answer, my friends, lies not in the duration of time, but in the intensity of your focus, the unwavering conviction of your belief. For in that 1 minute you have the ability to completely reshape your inner world, to impress upon your subconscious mind the reality you wish to experience. Consider this: Every moment of your waking life, you are imagining, whether you realize it or not. Your mind is constantly creating images, scenarios, and feelings. Most of the time, these imaginings are unconscious, habitual, reflecting the world as you believe it to be. But what if, for just 1 minute, you took conscious control of this incredible power? What if you directed the full force of your imagination towards that which you desire most? In this 1 minute, you must shed all doubts, all fears, all limitations imposed by the external world. You must step boldly into the state of the wish fulfilled, feeling with every fiber of your being that your desire is not something to be achieved in the future, but a present reality, here and now. This is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the cornerstone of all manifestation. Let me share with you a fundamental truth. Your imagination is God in action within you. It is the creative power of the universe individualized in your consciousness. When you imagine, you are literally shaping the very fabric of reality. And when you imagine with feeling, with the conviction that what you are imagining is real, you set in motion forces beyond your comprehension. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I tried to imagine better circumstances for myself, and nothing has changed. To this I say, you have not yet fully grasped the power of your imagination. You have not yet learned to live from the end, to experience in your mind and heart the joy, the fulfillment, the absolute certainty that your desire is already yours. This 1 minute of focused imagination is not about daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is about entering a state of consciousness where your desire is so real, so palpable, that to experience it in the external world becomes a foregone conclusion. It is about feeling the naturalness of having what you desire, of being who you wish to be. Let me illustrate this with a simple example. Suppose you desire financial abundance. In your 1 minute of focused imagination, you would not merely picture yourself with money. No, you would feel the peace of mind that comes with financial security. You would experience the joy of generosity, the freedom to pursue your passions without constraint. You would walk, talk, and breathe as someone who is abundantly prosperous. This minute of imagination is not about creating a future state, but about realizing a present fact. For in the realm of imagination, which is the kingdom of God within you, there is no distinction between wish and fulfillment. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it is done. Your outer world must by law rearrange itself to match this inner conviction. Now I can hear some of you questioning, but how can 1 minute truly change my life? Surely it takes more time than that to manifest significant changes. My dear friends, let me remind you that time is a construct of the human mind. In the realm of spirit, in the dimension of imagination, there is no time. All is now. When you enter that 1 minute of focused imagination, you are stepping outside of time. You are entering eternity, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. In that minute, you have the power to select the reality you wish to experience, to clothe yourself in the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desire. You think of it this way: when you flip a light switch, does it take time for the room to illuminate? No, it is instantaneous. Similarly, when you flip the switch of your imagination, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the light of that new reality is kindled immediately. The outer manifestation may take time to appear, but the inner reality, which is the true substance of things, is changed in an instant. This 1 minute is not about forcing change through willpower or action. It is about aligning yourself with the natural law of assumption. For the law states that if you assume you are what you want to be, and continue in that assumption, it must become your reality. This is not magic, not some esoteric practice, but the practical application of a universal principle. Now let me address a common misconception. Many believe that to manifest their desires, they must concentrate on them, constantly straining and struggling to maintain their focus throughout the day. This is not only unnecessary, but counterproductive. The power lies not in the duration of your focus, but in the intensity of your feeling, the completeness of your assumption. This 1 minute done with full conviction is more powerful than hours of half-hearted affirmations or visualizations. Why? Because in that minute you are not trying to change anything. You are simply recognizing and accepting what is already true in the realm of imagination. You are aligning your consciousness with the reality you wish to experience. Consider the biblical phrase, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness, this knowing, is what you achieve in your 1 minute of focused imagination. You become still, quieting the chatter of your rational mind, silencing the doubts and fears that would hold you back. And in that stillness, you experience with absolute certainty that you are one with the creative power of the universe. This knowing is not intellectual. It is not about convincing yourself of something. It is about experiencing it as a present fact. When you truly know something, when you have experienced it in your imagination with the fullness of your being, doubt becomes impossible. And where there is no doubt, there is only manifestation. Let me share with you a profound truth. The world you see around you, with all its seeming solidity, is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your own consciousness. Everything you perceive, every circumstance you encounter is a manifestation of your assumptions about yourself and the nature of reality. Change your assumptions and you change your world. This 1 minute of imagination is your opportunity to make a fundamental shift in your assumptions. It is your chance to try on a new state of consciousness, to wear it as you would a garment, feeling its texture, its tested, and as you wear this new state, as you live from it even for a minute, you are impressing it upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, my friends, is the true powerhouse of manifestation. It is the soil in which the seeds of your imagination take root and grow. When you impress upon your subconscious the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are planting a seed that must, by the very laws of mind, come to fruition in your outer world. Now, some of you may be wondering, what about action? Don't we need to do something to make our desires manifest? To this I say, inspired action will flow naturally from your changed consciousness. When you have truly assumed the state of the wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally taking the steps that lead to its outer realization. But make no mistake, the action is not the cause of the manifestation. It is merely the bridge between your inner assumption and its outer expression. The real work, the true creation, happens in your imagination. Your actions are simply the outer gestures that correspond to your inner knowing. This is why that 1 minute of focused imagination is so crucial. It is the moment when you set the whole machinery of manifestation into motion. It is the moment when you plant the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. From that point on, the law of growth takes over. Your job is simply to remain faithful to your assumption, to water it with your continued belief. Now let me address another question that may be arising in your minds. What if I can't sustain the feeling of my wish fulfilled for a whole minute? What if doubts creep in? My dear friends, this is natural. The human mind, conditioned by years of limiting beliefs, may initially resist this new way of thinking. But here's the key. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to maintain an unwavering focus for the entire minute. What matters is that you touch that state, that you taste the reality of your desire fulfilled, even if only for a moment. That moment, that split second of complete alignment with your desire, is enough to set the wheels of manifestation in motion. Think of it like striking a match. It takes only a moment to create the spark, but from that spark, a great fire can grow. Similarly, your 1 minute of imagination, even if not perfect, creates the spark of your new reality. And from that spark, your entire world can be transformed. Remember, the power of your imagination is not diminished by your doubts or fears. It is a divine gift, a reflection of the infinite creative power of the universe. It operates with mathematical precision, bringing into manifestation whatever you impress upon it with feeling. Your job is not to make it work, it is always working. Your job is simply to use it consciously, deliberately, to shape your reality according to your desires. Now, let's delve deeper into the mechanics of this 1-minute manifestation. When you close your eyes and enter your imagination, you are entering the realm of infinite possibilities. In this realm, there is no limitation, no restriction. You are free to be, to do, to have whatever you desire. But here's the crucial point. You must enter this realm not as a supplicant, begging for your desires to be fulfilled, but as a creator, knowing that what you imagine is already real. You must approach your imagination with the attitude of a king entering his kingdom, with the absolute certainty that your word is law. In this 1 minute, you are not trying to make something happen. You are acknowledging what is already true in the realm of imagination. You are aligning your consciousness with the reality you wish to experience. This is the true meaning of prayer, not beseeching an external deity, but recognizing and claiming your oneness with the creative power of the universe. As you enter this state, feel the joy, the excitement, the absolute certainty that your desire is fulfilled. Let every cell of your body vibrate with this knowing. Let your breath deepen, your muscles relax, as you sink into the reality of your wish fulfilled. This feeling, this embodiment of your desire, is the secret to its manifestation. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've tried to feel my desires fulfilled, and it feels fake. It feels like I'm lying to myself. To this I say, persistence is key. The feeling may seem unnatural at first simply because it is unfamiliar. Your current reality, with all its limitations, has become habitual. It feels real simply because it is familiar. But remember, your current reality was once just as unfamiliar, just as unreal. It became real through repetition, through your continued assumption of its reality. In the same way, your new desired reality will become just as real, just as natural, as you persist in assuming it to be true. This is why the practice of imagining for 1 focused minute can be so transformative. It gives you the opportunity to step out of your habitual state of consciousness and into a new state. And with repetition, this new state becomes increasingly familiar, increasingly natural, until it becomes your dominant state of being. Let me share with you a profound secret. The outer world has no choice but to conform to your inner assumptions. This is not wishful thinking, but a fundamental law of consciousness. Just as an apple seed must grow into an apple tree, so must your inner assumption grow into your outer reality. But here's the key. You must give your imagination time to bear fruit. Just as a farmer doesn't dig up his seeds every day to check their progress, you must not constantly question or doubt the efficacy of your imagination. Plant the seed in your 1 minute of focused imagination, then go about your day in the calm assurance that what you have imagined must by law come to pass. This patience, this unwavering faith in the law of assumption is crucial. For it is in the intervening time between your imaginative act and its physical manifestation that your faith is tested. It is in this time that you must hold fast to your assumption, living from the end, feeling the naturalness of your desire fulfilled. Now let me address a question that often arises. What about big, seemingly impossible desires? Can they really be manifested in just 1 minute? My answer, dear friends, is an unequivocal yes. For in the realm of imagination, there is no distinction between big and small, possible and impossible. Remember, What you are doing that 1 minute is not creating something new, but recognizing something that already exists in the realm of infinite possibilities. Whether your desire is for a cup of coffee or for world peace, the process is the same. You are selecting a state of consciousness, a version of reality, and through your assumption, bringing it into manifestation. The size or scope of your desire is irrelevant. What matters is the intensity of your feeling, the completeness of your assumption. A mountain is no more difficult for the law to move than a molehill. Both conform with equal ease to your assumption. The only limitation is in your own mind, in your own willingness to assume the state of the wish fulfilled. Let me illustrate this with a personal anecdote. Many years ago, I desired to travel to Barbados, my homeland, but I had no money, no means of making the journey. Instead of focusing on these outer limitations, I chose to enter my imagination. For a few minutes each night, I would lie in my bed in New York and imagine that I was in Barbados. I felt the tropical breeze on my skin, heard the rustle of palm leaves, smelled the salt air. I lived and moved and had my being in Barbados, all within my imagination. I did not question how this trip would come about. I simply lived from the assumption that I was already there. Within a few weeks, to my utter amazement, received a letter from my brother in Barbados. He had, out of the blue, decided to pay for my trip home. The outer manifestation aligned perfectly with my inner assumption, bridging the seemingly impossible gap between my desire and its fulfillment. This, my friends, is the power of that 1 minute of focused imagination. It has the ability to set in motion forces beyond your current understanding, to rearrange the very fabric of a reality to match your inner conviction. Now I want to address a common pitfall that many fall into when attempting to manifest their desires. They focus on the process, on the how of manifestation, rather than on the end result. This is a mistake. Your job is not to figure out how your desire will be fulfilled. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In your 1 minute of imagination, do not concern yourself with the steps that might lead to your desire. Do not try to plan or strategize. Simply step into the state where your desire is already fulfilled. Feel it, live it, know it as an accomplished fact. The how will take care of itself. Remember, the creative power of your imagination is infinitely more intelligent than your rational mind. It has access to information, to possibilities that your conscious mind cannot even conceive of. By trying to figure out the how, you are limiting yourself to what you currently believe is possible. Instead, in that 1 minute, surrender yourself completely to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let go of all preconceptions about what is possible or impossible. Allow yourself to be guided by your imagination, trusting that it knows the perfect way to bring your desire to manifestation. This surrender, this complete faith in the power of your imagination is what distinguishes those who manifest their desires with ease from those who struggle. It is the difference between trying to make something happen and allowing it to happen, between effort and grace. Now let me share with you another crucial aspect of this 1 minute manifestation technique. It is not enough to simply visualize your desire. You must feel it. You must experience it with all your senses. For it is your feeling that gives life to your imagination, that impresses it upon your subconscious mind. In your 1 minute of focused imagination, engage all your senses. If you desire a new home, don't just see it in your mind's eye. Feel the smooth banister under your hand as you climb the stairs. Smell the fresh paint on the walls. Hear the sound of your footsteps echoing in the spacious rooms. Taste the meal you're enjoying in your new dining room. The more real you can make it in your imagination, the more quickly and easily it will manifest in your outer world. For remember, your imagination is not creating something new. It is selecting from the infinite possibilities that already exist. The more vividly you experience your desire in imagination, the more powerfully you draw that particular possibility into your physical experience. This sensory vividness is crucial because your conscious mind does not distinguish between what you imagine and what you experience in the physical world. To your subconscious, a vividly imagined experience is just as real as a physical one. And it is your subconscious mind, remember, that is the true engine of manifestation. Now, some of you may be wondering, but what if I imagine my desire and nothing happens? What if I don't see immediate results? To this I say patience and persistence are key. The seed you plant in your imagination needs time to grow. Just as a physical seed doesn't sprout overnight, the seed of your desire may take time to manifest in your outer world. But make no mistake, from the moment you plant that seed in your imagination, forces beyond your comprehension are set in motion to bring it into fruition. During this time of waiting, it is crucial that you maintain your faith. Continue to live from the assumption that your desire is fulfilled. In your daily life, act as you would if your desire were already a physical fact. This consistent assumption, this unwavering faith, is what allows your desire to manifest with ease and grace. Remember, the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumptions. As you persist in assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your outer world must, by law, rearrange itself to match this inner conviction. It has no choice, for there is no power outside of you that can overrule the creative power of your own imagination. In conclusion, my dear friends, I urge you to test this law for yourself. Take just 1 minute each day to step into the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel it, live it, know it as a no, accomplish that. Then go about your day in the calm assurance that what you have imagined must come to pass. For remember, imagination creates reality. And in that 1 minute of focused imagination, you have the power to reshape your entire world.